everybody, it's Keren here from tuppencecoloured.co.uk. Thank you very much for joining me, and this is the card that I've been making today. This kind of folding screen card, it was popular a few years ago, and everybody was making them. And then the punch that we were using at the time to create this lovely shape at the bottom of the screen went, it retired, and all of a sudden you couldn't get quite that effect anymore, so I think people stopped making them. But recently we've had a new punch that creates this lovely shape. So I thought, you know what, time to revive the folding screen card. So stay with me, show you how I made it. This is Pool Party. It's 9 inches by 5 3/4. I'm going to score at 3 inches and at 6 inches. And I'm also going to make a mark 1.5 inches and go down about an inch, and at 4.5 inches and at 7.5 inches. Okay, and that's going to help me when I come to line up my punch in a few moments. So I'm going to burnish those score lines I just made, and I'm going to fold the card up into a sort of concertina fashion, so it's like that. And I'm going to bring in my Label Me Lovely punch, which is an absolutely gorgeous punch for making this kind of card. And ahead of time I've gone and marked on my punch with a fine tip Sharpie where my halfway points are, so halfway vertically, halfway horizontally. Now you can eyeball, by all means you can eyeball, but I am not good at the old eyeballing. And what I am going to do is I'm going to use my punch, line up those marks I've made, and just punch out. Now I can just fold the card over, and again using my marks to help me make sure that I haven't kind of slipped off true. Punch again. And third time lucky. And now I have the basis of my screen card. I've cut some panels of my chosen DSP. 3, 2, 1. I've cut some panels of my chosen designer series paper, and I've cut them to 2 3/4 of an inch by 5 inches, and I've kind of gone ahead and folded them in half and just put a little pinch with my fingernail, my thumbnail there, so that I can see where the fold line is. And I'm going to keep this side up because I can see it a bit better. And again, so I'm lining up that fold line, and this time I'm lining up the bottom of the paper with that bit of the punch there. Can you see where those curly edges are? Just tilting that so I can see my fold properly, and punch. And I've already done one, so I'm just going to finish off the last one so that you can see again. So again, lining up that fold with my halfway line, lining up the bottom of my paper with that bottom of that second curve on the punch, and punch out. And now I can layer that on top of my card, and it'll leave me with a nice little border all the way around. Now I could just layer up my card just like that and leave my top edge square, but I want something that's slightly fancier than that. So I've got one of my layering ovals dies. You could use a circle, you could use one with a fancy edge, whatever you've got. And I'm just kind of threading the card through the die so that only this part of the card has got a cutting edge over the top of it. I will stick that down with a bit of low tack tape before I go any further, and then what I'm going to do then is I'm going to pop it through my die cutting machine, but I'm only going to cover that part of it with a cutting plate. Okay, so probably a bit easier if I kind of turn it around that way so that I've got that hanging off the edge, and then that will go through my die cutting machine and only that part will cut. I'm going through 3 layers of card, so I'm going to run it backwards and forwards a few times, and then I'm going to layer up my 3 pieces of DSP, and I'm going to do the same thing. I will be right back. So I'm back with my card. It took me a few passes through the machine, so I've decided that for the front panels I'm going to go old school. So I'm just going to square that up on with my mat, use that to help me, and I'm going to kind of even up my die, and I'm working on what's going to be the back of the card, and I'm just going to cut that away. And if I line up all 3 of them, because it's only paper, I can do them at the same time, just like this. Now, a handy tip that I was given some time ago is if you want to cut exactly on a line, angle your scissor blades over a little bit so that you can see exactly where you're cutting. And there we are. And now all I want to do now is to glue these onto these panels. For some reason my adhesive has dropped onto the floor. And I realised when I cut these out that there is very faint handwriting on this paper, and it's directional, and I discovered that I had cut out 2 of the panels with the writing upside down. But I'm going to put those on the inside of the card, and you're not going to tell on me, are you? Okay, so there is the basis of my my screen card, and I'm going to go and think about how I'm going to decorate it. And when I've decided, I'll be back. So I've given a lot of thought to how I want to decorate the screens, and what I've decided to do is to take some of this paper and do some fussy cutting. So I'm going to roughly chop out the blossoms that I think I want to use. So I think I want those, and I might want that one. I'll think about that one later. And what I'm going to do is I am just going to take my scissors and I am just going to fussy cut these out from the paper. I may have mentioned this previously because it's been quite some time since I videoed the first part of this tutorial to now, and yeah, just couldn't get my head into the crafting game at all. Nothing, you know, desperately wrong with me, and I think, to be honest with you, it is just the leftovers from the dreaded plague. But what I was going to say is, if you're fussy cutting, if you lean your scissor blades over, then you will get a nice close cut, because you can see where your blades are moving. You can see the way they're going. And the other tip, of course, is to move the paper and not the scissors. Okay, so I've done those, and I've got some that I've already cut here. Now I may need more, but I shan't torture you with watching me cut out, because, you know, you've seen it once, you've seen it. And what I am going to do is I'm going to bring in some of my stamping pads. So I've got Flirty Flamingo, which is one of the newer style pads, and my trusty old Calypso Coral, which I've had for some time. And I've got a couple of my little makeup brushes, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up some of the ink and I'll spread it out on my blending mat here. Now, you don't need to have a blending mat, you can just have a you know, a bit of plastic will do, silicone mat, anything like that. I like these blending mats because they are they've got a nice white background to them, which means I can see which colour I've put down. But anything that's kind of slick, really. Or you could even, if you don't tuck your ink pad underneath the way I have, you could even use that. So there you go. Okay, and I'm just going to have a very small amount of Calypso Coral. I could have left my flowers the way they were, but I just wanted them to have a little bit more colour. And that's the great thing about paper, you know, you don't have to accept it exactly as it is. Okay, so I'm kind of liking the way that's turned out, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to colour the others the same way, and if I need to cut out any more, then I will do that, and I'll be back when that's all. Now these are coloured, I'm going to put them onto my card, and I'm going to use my trusty liquid adhesive. Did think about raising them up on some dimensionals, but in the end I decided against it, because you could only do it really on the first screen anyway, and that's overlapping a bit, but that's fine, I'm not too worried about that. And then the others would all have to be flat, because otherwise the card won't close properly. See, I'm easily distracted by easily distracted by paper crafts. Okay, so I'm quite happy to let that overhang there, and let me see, what should we do next? So we'll have this one. No, we won't. So we'll have this one kind of going up the middle there. there. And I really am just playing. I want to cover up as much of this paper as I possibly can so people don't notice the upside down handwriting. Okay, so I'm going to take this piece, which is bigger than I want, and I'm just going to cut it down. Great thing about paper is that it is very good natured. You know, it's just a bit of paper, isn't it? It's not life or death. So, you know. Okay, so just cut these pieces away. And if I cut that one and that one, and I'm now working in my kitchen. Been trying to find a good space that I can work in and craft in, because now that my husband and I are both working from home, the spaces that I would normally use when I'm creating my videos are being used for other things, like the day job. So, life in lockdown, yeah. Okay, so to finish things off, I want a sentiment. So I've gone ahead and I've done some stamping on this piece of Pool Party, and I've already fussy cut that one out, and the stamps I'm using come from Free as a Bird, and I have now seen the new annual catalogue, which will be open for business from beginning of June, and this set is carrying over, so I'm very, very happy about that because it's one of my favourites. And I don't normally like things with birds on. I'm not really a bird fan. I'm a tiny bit scared of them, if you want the truth. So I'm about as happy with a stamping set with birds on as some people would be with a stamping set with spiders on. I'm okay with spiders. Don't mind them at all. Not that happy with you know, wasps and things that will sting you. But spiders, they're okay, really. You know? Leave a towel draped over the edge of the bath so that they can climb up if they get stuck in there. And we're good. Spiders and I, we're fine. Yes, if you do that, if you leave a towel draped over the edge of your bath, that's kind of towards the, you know, the end of it's kind of towards the bottom of the bath. The spiders will use it as a ladder, and you won't find spiders in your bath so much. Okay, so I have, your friendship means the world to me. The world needs more of you. Thanks for being you. So I'm going to put them down in that order, and again with my liquid adhesive. So let's pop that one there. And here, yes, I'm now filming in my kitchen, so you may hear my freezer turning on and off, just turned on behind me. I will try and remove background noise, and I don't know whether you heard that, but that's the pigeon that lives outside taking off. Yeah, and I am babbling, but while I've been babbling, I'm going to call that card complete. So there it is. That is the finished card. It did take me much longer to make than I was planning, and half of it was filmed in my bedroom, and the other part of it was filmed in my kitchen. So if you notice change in the lighting quality, in the noises off, that is the reason why. And actually I'm quite enjoying working in the kitchen. I've got a bit more space than I had in the bedroom, so I may carry on with that. But anyway, that is it for today. Thank you very much for joining me, and do come back and see me again sometime soon. But meanwhile, keep safe and bye bye for now.